Hello, my name is Sean McNamara. Anytime there's a disruption in a spiritual community, perhaps after a scandal, there's a large group of people who decide to leave that community or are considering leaving that community, which could be one of the most painful things those individuals have to do in their whole life. Community is a very strong factor in anybody's life, and so to tear away from that is very difficult. And speaking as someone who has experience in leaving a troublesome community, I wanted to offer some constructive advice. These points will be fairly quick, but it's something for you to think of, and I hope you find it supportive. If you know anyone else out there who might benefit from this advice, please share this with them. The first thing is you must honor your emotions. Feel free to feel exactly how you feel. It might be good to consider avoiding spiritualizing your feelings or how you're supposed to feel. There's a lot of talk about maintaining bodhicitta or loving kindness in light of everything that's going on. But perhaps the most open and accepting way to be is if you're angry, feel angry. If you feel abandoned, scared, confused, whatever it is you feel, allow yourself to feel exactly that. There's no reason right now to try and hold yourself up to some spiritual ideal, but just be real with yourself and hold those emotions. Your emotions will take care of themselves in their own time, in their own way, as long as you make space for them. Next, you should feel every right to take your time with regard to expressing how you feel or whatever you experience or what your opinions are to anybody else. And if you never want to say anything to anyone, you don't have to. You might consider meeting with a psychotherapist, someone who's trained to work with survivors of religious abuse. Even if you weren't specifically abused in this situation, you were part of this community and you might be feeling hurt or traumatized on some level. And these types of therapists can be very helpful. You'll want to make sure, of course, that this therapist is not a member of this organization. Try and find someone with an outside opinion. Now is going to be a great time for you to connect with other people who have left that organization or other organizations. When people like that, when survivors gather together, it's a great opportunity to remind each other, to remind ourselves that we're not crazy for thinking or feeling the thoughts we're having, for not having the emotions we're having. We're not crazy for believing what we saw because we really did see it, we heard it, or friends of ours experienced these things. And so it's good to reassure each other that we're not crazy for feeling the way we do. It's also a great time to reconnect with your natural family. These are the people who've loved you since the day you were born, no matter what you've done. And just receiving that kind of unconditional love from family can be really healing. It's also a great time to spend time with other social circles. Maybe go play some sports with people or take part in hobbies where other people are involved. People who have nothing to do with your spiritual side or with this religious organization that you were part of. Find something else that is nurturing for you, that makes you feel good. You might feel some internal pressure to keep meditating or doing whatever practices you receive from this organization. And this is just a reminder, it is perfectly within your right to stop meditating and stop chanting or stop doing whatever practice that you've been doing. It doesn't have to be a permanent thing, it's your choice. But for now, if doing these practices remind you of the perpetrator or the organization or the people who supported all this activity, it's okay to stop. It's okay to put it away. You might just want to be a regular, unspiritual person for a while, and when you're ready, you might find new opportunities to express your spiritual side. In fact, you have every right to change your mind about your spiritual path. You might decide that there's actually a lot of good with this organization and you want to keep moving forward with it. That's within your right. You might decide you want to try something else completely different, and that's also within your right. Everything you choose is up to you. You are still completely free. And right now, if you've stepped away from this organization, either temporarily or permanently, it's a great opportunity. There's a lot of freedom in that space. You might want to avoid, however, finding another teacher or organization to commit yourself to right away. Right now you might be psychologically vulnerable. So if you've stepped away from an abusive situation, now's the time when you might accidentally step into another abusive situation without even knowing it. And a lot of this happens subconsciously. And if you work with a therapist, they'll talk to you about that. So maybe don't make any commitments right now, but feel free to look around or explore things on your own that don't require any commitments. And finally, here's some books that helped me a lot when I decided to leave. The first one is called Dangerous Personalities. This is written by an FBI agent who is trained to spot psychopathic personalities in all walks of life. And this happens everywhere in life. It may help you understand the people involved in what you just went through, and it'll help you spot people in the future and save you from going through the same thing again. Another great book is The Narcissist Next Door. This one is really good. Of course, it's specific to narcissism, but it'll give you a lot of helpful information about people in general, and especially groups and groupthink, and how we sort of lose our freedom and independent thinking when we join any group, either spiritual or in sports or in business. There's a lot of psychology here that we need to understand. Another great book is called Invisible Influence. And when you read this, you'll start to understand how the environment that you place yourself in has an effect on your thinking and can actually take away a lot of your freedom and your decision making. And instead, you'll see how you're influenced by the environment, including photos and things hanging on the wall or colors, things like that. So here's some good movies that you might want to watch. Maybe not right now, but when you've recovered a little bit, it's good to inform yourself. The first one is called Spotlight, which goes in depth about the cover-up of sexual abuse by the Catholic Church. The second movie, which you can also get on Netflix, is called Holy Hell. It's about a small cult that moved around North America. And in it, what I appreciated is seeing that very normal people, normal, healthy people, fell into this cult unknowingly. And we're all healthy, normal-minded people, so there's nothing wrong with us for having fallen into a harmful organization or fallen in with a harmful teacher. It's just something that happens in a mysterious way, or something that we're blind to. So this movie will be really helpful. A great series on Netflix is called Wild Wild Country. This is an in-depth documentary about Osho and what happened with that community. And it's very well written and filmed, and it's very evenly balanced, which is quite frightening actually, because during certain parts when I was watching it, it was hard for me to determine whether or not something wrong had really happened with some of the individuals involved. And this just shows how vulnerable our minds can be in discerning events and hearsay and things that are going on in an organization behind closed doors. A movie that a lot of people have suggested to me that I haven't watched yet is called Going Clear, and it's about the Church of Scientology. It's not on Netflix, but it might be on HBO or somewhere else, so you might want to check that one out too. So with the books and the videos, this might be years worth of research that you do on your own, or find your own resources. There are a lot of great psychology books out there that'll help you understand what you've experienced and help you avoid it in the future. Anyway, these were just some quick tips, and I hope you find it helpful and supportive in your journey. You're in a new position here, but you're going to be great. You're going to be fine. You're going to recover, and there's so much left to learn in life, and your spiritual path definitely still continues.